Hi and welcome to Let's Talk, all about books, social media and news about Auckland events. Carole Beu will be in with another great read. I'll be on about a concept we'll soon be hearing lots more about, the fiscal cliff. Coming up in a few minutes is Geraldine O'Sullivan-Beer, who's organising the tiny but terrific Waiheke Island Book Festival. But first, Catherine Smith from the Weekend Herald is here to fill us in on hot stuff to do over Labour weekend. Hi Catherine, welcome back to Let's Talk. Now, after what seems like endless months, we've finally got another long weekend and there must be things going on which we can all get out and enjoy now that spring is supposed to be here.
I know, yes. but another editor and I were having this discussion. I think a lot of people got muddled this year because it's the 20th and not the 27th of October, because there's actually as much happening next weekend, the 27th, as there is this weekend, the 20th. But it's definitely the turning point. I definitely feel like all our summer things are starting to happen.
Yes, and every now and again we get a gorgeous few days in between the blustering, howling winds and we think, oh, it's coming, it's coming.
Those 100k wins,
yes.
Man, I'm glad I'm not a sailor. Well, possibly sailors are happy about it. But anyway, the big thing is all the vigorous outdoorsy things that are starting to start. So I'll just cover that briefly because I don't know much more about them except that they are a spectacle to watch rather than participate. And of course it's the ITU World Triathlon here.
Okay.
I take the ferry in every morning and the stands are all set up, and yesterday I was walking back from something and there were masses of people in tracksuits all kind of gathering round, you know, with their international tracksuits on. Yes. So it's clearly all happening, including some rather splendid Brazilians.
Oh, I saw some Canadian guys bicycling along the other day and I'm thinking, oh, what's he doing here? He's a long way from home.
I know. Yes. So it's the various heats and so on this week, and then, you know, the big build up to the finals next weekend, the 27th. So it will be splendid.
Yes.
And, you know, Waterfront Auckland are really making the effort that all of these events now are for the public and the community, and it's not just tucked away somewhere that people feel they can't go to. So that's the biggie. And then, of course, the following weekend is the Auckland Marathon. So again, take note, those of you, it's too late to start training.
Yes, people must have been out pounding the pavement in their Nikes and things for months now.
I know, I know. Well, we've got a few at work doing it and you just go, oh, whatever. But the one that I rather like is that there's, this weekend is these rafting champs in Tauranga, which I love all those little obscure sports that people are super skilled and quite often world class, and you never hear about them. You never know anything about them.
Never see it on the sports news on TV.
No, but I reckon that would be a spectacular thing to watch. So just go into the Tauranga website and Tauranga Tourism, and they'll have the details for that. And then really we're getting quite artsy this week, because next weekend, October 26th through to November 4th, the following weekend, is Auckland Art Week.
Right.
So it all happens.
So what happens at Auckland Art Week?
Well, it's coming out to the streets. The one that I'm quite excited about is one called Living Room, and Mary Jane O'Reilly from LIMS is doing kind of public
from
dance.
Way back.
Exactly, it's sort of dance, street theatre, through Aotea Square right down to Smith & Coe's window, and there will be someone doing a piece in Smith & Coe's window, and then all around Aotea Square and into the back of the Q Theatre. And the publicity shots show someone doing sort of a dance thing round a bus.
Oh, right.
The back of it, and it's called the back of a bus, so I can't wait to see that
that
one.
All sounds great.
I know, it sort of makes you think of parkour and gymnastics and all those people that use furniture to do things. There's a really cute bike ride around the various art galleries and public art.
Yeah, you'll be doing that, won't you? Being
yeah,
an ardent biker.
Well, my Elizabeth, my writer, is a cyclist, and she's
Mm.
definitely done it. And then there's kind of the art speed dating, where you kind of get to talk to dealers and galleries and kind of get a sense of what's right for you in terms of buying art. And we're running a cover story this weekend about how to buy art.
I wonder, is that still a hot and happening thing, buying art, or even more so than ever?
They had a record auction last month for some of those pieces.
People are thinking that what's hanging on the wall is, in an era when it's damn hard to get a good return on a term deposit, you might as well have a lovely thing on your wall.
Enjoy it, exactly. And then there's a really cool little one about, you know, all these corporates that have amazing art in their lobbies and various places, and there's various tours that take you in to the back of that. And then there's some street art and around Kate Sylvester World Zambezi, so down there's some things happening in and out of the store with photographers and fashion people. So it's really nice. It's all about people. And then of course there's the Southside Arts Festival in Mangere still going on. It's the big hip hop weekend.
And that's probably wonderful in
Yeah.
terms of, you know, colour and,
I know.
and
Well,
rhythm
it's
and excitement.
exactly. Well, it's
yes.
Cult Couture this weekend, which is,
Yeah.
you know, wearable arts, and then next weekend is all the hip hop stuff.
Yeah.
And then the Mangawai Art Trail, which is a bit more outdoorsy. And,
Right,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Oh, isn't that a great combination, though, of things muscular and things sort of mental
I
slash
know.
spiritual? There's a lot going on.
Yeah. And then I've sort of got an island heart at the moment. I did a weekend in Waiheke last weekend, and there's the 27th, there's the Walks on Waiheke, and then there's the Books on Waiheke, or Words on a Small Island, which you're going to talk about
Yes.
next. And then into November is the Food and Olive Festival.
Wow,
So
yes.
I really feel like islands are the places to be. Tiri has this amazing thing now where you can go out to the island, have a bit of an explore, and then they've got a shop there which has got probably sort of green-oriented Christmas gifts.
And bird-oriented Christmas gifts. Yes.
So you're supporting the island and sorting out your Christmas problem
Because
all
that's such
in
a
one
wonderful
go.
thing to do. If people haven't gone and look at the rare birds on Tiri Maitangi, they really should, shouldn't they?
I
'Cause
know.
it's an Auckland treasure.
Yeah, and then the same with Rotorua Island is doing a walk around the Chris Booth sculptures and all the pieces that have been installed there on Sunday the 4th of November. So again,
Wow.
go to the island, dig a few trees to help the native planting.
So it's going to be a good weekend for
It's
Fuller's Ferries, we can tell.
I'm
Yes.
pretty sure, yeah.
People will be out there buying tickets like crazy to get out on the water.
And then,
Hopefully it's a happy sunny weekend.
Sunny weekend, I know. Well, wait 5 minutes and it will be, isn't it? And then just going, right through to the beginning of November, of course, it's the Fork Hawke's Bay Food Festival in the 2nd of November that weekend.
Go and buy your air tickets for that, yes.
Yeah.
Or take the fairly lengthy drive, yes.
I know.
From
Well,
here to
I
there.
love that drive, so
Yeah.
I drive it, I have to say. And then the Parnell Rose Festival. It seems awfully early, but
Wow.
November the 3rd and 4th. So
November's big for
yeah.
roses, isn't it? So is it when the
Oh.
Rose Garden is going to be at its
splendid
absolute
best.
peak? Yes.
Yes. And
Smelling gorgeous and
I
looking
know.
gorgeous.
And
yes.
you always resolve, I'm going to have the bother of doing roses in my garden after you've been there, and then I never quite do.
Yeah.
And then sort of the maddest thing, I think, is that the planetarium is doing a War of the World special, so, the movie and all the music at the planetarium. Can't imagine what it will be, but it sounds like...
Oh, how fantastic.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Well, after this week when we've seen the highest jump from that balloon down upon the planet, where you could clearly see the curvature of the Earth, that was an astonishing shot, an astonishing feat. So I think all of us are thinking more about, hey, space is just out there, isn't it? We can actually, if you're brave enough, you can actually go there and touch it.
And kind of doing those retro movies is what we thought about space back then and what we know about it now, and how much we still don't know.
Yeah.
That's the really cool thing. And then I just have to finish with my fabulosity, because it's Mary Poppins is finally opening, and honestly, we like children waiting for a birthday party. All the people.
Ella Jocious, yes, which I can't remember off the top of my head.
I know.
Yes.
It just seems to have got everyone excited.
Yeah, well, people of a certain age, I think, but I wonder if teenagers could care less, and children, they don't even know what it's about, really, do they? Because it's an old show and an old movie, isn't it?
Yeah, but my early 20s ones are really excited because they grew up on it.
Right, yeah.
I don't know, I will have to ask around the office, but I think quite a few of it's one of those things that the parents keep their kids reading, like Winnie the Pooh and Tintin and all that stuff, because
and the
we
music has
loved
just
it.
sort of remained part of the landscape of our ears, hasn't it, really? I mean, you do know those songs, yes.
Yeah. So
and there'll be lots of special effects in the actual theatre as well, by the look of it. Yes, lots of flying going on.
I know.
It's going to be most exciting, yes.
Yeah, so I just think of those excited little children who've made it into the chorus and got the parts too. Imagine that. Yeah.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
So lots of fun outside, lots of fun inside.
Thank God
Good stuff
summer's
going on. in Auckland. Thank you so much, Catherine.
Okay.
We haven't heard much about this yet, which is surprising because it's the gigantic issue in the United States election that both Obama and Romney seem to be studiously ignoring. You might remember that way back last year, the Republicans and the Democrats set up a committee that was supposed to agree on moves that might dig America out from under its enormous debt pile. they got nowhere. And so an alternative and automatic scenario slipped into place that will unfold on the first day of 2013. If the politicians still can't compromise, and soon, then over the cliff they'll all go in a screaming tangle. It'll mean huge spending cuts and an average tax hike for Americans of nearly $3,500. Of course, at election time, that prospect goes down like a bucket of arsenic, so no one's promising anything. But the cliff edge moment is galloping closer, and if no action's taken soon, then the American economy takes the swan dive, which of course would be scary for the rest of the world too. Got your parachute ready? Waiheke Island is the jewel in Auckland's crown for lots of reasons, including wine, food and relaxed living. But once a year, it's also famous for its book festival, where people who love good stories can interact with people who write them. This year's festival is on at the end of this month with a heap of performances, discussions, workshops and films. Putting it all together is Creative Director Geraldine O'Sullivan-Beer. Hello Geraldine, welcome to Let's Talk. Thank you for being here to talk to us about the book festival, which sounds like such fun.
Well, thank you for asking me to come, Lindsay. Yes, the book festival on Waiheke, it's called Words on a Small Island. It's really a celebration of words in all its various guises, from poetry through to film and into books.
Book festivals are becoming really part of the cultural scene, aren't they? And there's one up in Northland recently, in Whangarei, and of course there's the Going West one out in West Auckland. So what makes the Waiheke Island one really worth going to from your point of view?
I think it's because it's a destination festival. It captures Waiheke. Like there's a wonderful festival in Ubud, which I went to last year in Bali.
Bali, yeah.
And that's all in the temples and cafes and restaurants, and a lot of it's outdoor pavilions and beside swimming pools. And in a way,
gorgeous.
It sounds gorgeous, and it was too.
Yes.
So the Waiheke Festival it captures a little bit of the Waiheke spirit. We sit in deck chairs at some of the events. We have parts of old batches on the stage. We use beach halls and very intimate settings a lot of the time. And then, of course, you've got the gorgeous vineyard restaurants as well.
Yes.
So it's capturing that little Waiheke spirit that makes it such a difference.
Yes, which is just on the doorstep for all of the people who live in Auckland City. So, yeah. So has this been your baby right from the start?
Yes, it was an idea I had. Of course, I'm passionate, like you. Been writing and working with words, I guess, through my whole career. And so when I went to Waiheke, it was one of the things I thought was missing. There is such a strong creative community, many writers, script writers, poets, living on the island. So you've got a core of fabulous people there to start with, as well as bringing in other high flyers.
And has it taken much effort to bring in the high flyers from other parts of the country, or do they think, oh, that sounds good? Yeah.
They do, actually. In fact, they're almost queuing up to come.
Yeah.
And we make sure they have a wonderful time while they're there and get the most out of the island as well.
Yeah. And so people who are attending, do they tend to pop over just for the day, or do they come and make a whole weekend of it? Stay somewhere nice?
Both. You've got some that... A lot of the event is close to the Matiatia end, so it's close to the ferry, so that people could come for the day.
Right.
But also people find friends to go and stay with, or go and stay in accommodation there.
Yeah.
We do get a few from other parts of the country. People come up from Dunedin, Wellington, Hamilton, and the last 2 years people from Sydney.
Wow, and do the numbers keep growing all the time?
Yes, they have from the small base, yes.
Excellent, well done Geraldine, I'm impressed. So what have we got on at this festival? It begins on the 26th. What are the things
highlights
that you'd like to talk about? Yeah.
I guess Friday we've got a couple of workshops. It's the first time we've had workshops, but I think people have often said to us, could we have a workshop? And we've got two wonderful youngish publishers, and they're going to talk about self-publishing, which is a big deal these days.
Huge deal these
days. It's easier
yes.
to self-publish now. These are both successful self-publishers.
Yes.
Plus,
and also that sort of taint that it used to have of vanity publishing, that's completely
yes,
gone now, isn't it? Because
yes.
there's a whole new world of publishing happening. Yeah.
So the other workshop is more in creative writing for would-be or experienced novelists, script writers, poets. So, and then in the evening, we're having a fundraising event for the Waiheke Cinema, which wants to go digital, and that's quite a big charge, quite a big cost to go digital for the Waiheke Cinema, which is quite a
Oh, do you mean at the moment it's got an old-fashioned projector
it's
with
got
miles of film going through it?
So they really need to step up,
yeah.
and they needed to raise a lot of money. And what is lucky is that to Waiheke has come a filmmaker called Stephanie Bennett, who, since she started living on the island, she's been doing much more of her films in art and architecture. But previously she was quite a big deal in the US with musicians. And so we're playing 2 films of hers on Friday night, really about Chuck Berry, so it's from the 80s.
Yes.
She produced a film called Hail, Hail, Rock and Roll, and so we're going to see a documentary on how that film was made, and then the actual film. People are getting dressed up in rock and roll gear, and all rock and rollers are actually turning out. It's actually sold out at this stage because the cinema's quite small. Am I also allowed to do a promo, because Stephanie also produced the complete guide to the Beatles for 30 years, was called The Complete Beatles.
This is a compendium of books, is it?
Two volume books with everything you'd want to know about the Beatles, and a video, which she was in the early days of video, and for 30 years until the Beatles did their own, or Paul McCartney did his own anthology, this was it. And of course the books are right out of date and highly sought after.
Okay.
And so we're going to
So these are real collector's items,
they're collector's items, so we're going to auction them for the cinema, help the fundraising along.
What do they think they're worth? Is there sort of a ballpark figure that you'd like to get to for these? I mean, are these something of international worth?
Yes, they sell a pristine copy on set, which we have for sale on eBay, is 1,500 US.
Okay, yes.
So obviously these there were a lot.
Credit card charged. Yes.
The videos are not so much, but it makes a complete set to have the whole thing.
So when is that auction happening?
As part of the...
It's part of the cinema thing. Okay.
But people can actually email to the Waiheke Cinema.
Right.
I think John Hawksby's the fundraiser, and he's going to do the auction.
Okay. And who else have we got coming? I see Sam Hunt's face here, and always a crowd puller, isn't he? Yes.
Yes, he used to live on Waiheke, so...
it's going home for him.
It's going home, and he's looking forward to coming through, and he's just had a new book come out, which is a great collection of many of his works over the years. So we're really thrilled. He will be in a barn. I thought, where would you have Sam Hunt? I know in the old days we always thought of him in smoky bars, but actually a barn is the setting this time for Sam, and I'm looking forward to... When he was on Waiheke, he used to drive the most amazing old Cadillac.
Yes.
And I'm looking around for friends who've got Cadillacs to drive him around in. I thought that would be a good idea.
I don't have any friends who have a Cadillac. That must be quite a hard thing to find. Now, you've brought 2 brand new books too, which I presume are going to be launched during the festival.
Yes, indeed. 2 completely different books. As I said, there's quite a wealth of talent on Waiheke itself. And we have this... I Love Lemonade is the latest from Dreamboat Books, which is Mark and Rowan Somerset, who self-published themselves. They started their own publishing company. And I Love Lemonade is a sequel to Baba Smart Sheep, which won an award a couple of years ago. And Mark has just got back from Frankfurt and got a great reception with his children's books there. Yeah. So it's very, very thrilling. And they're picture books for children.
Yeah, lovely. And that looks just fabulous. And then
so
there's a Life at Mudbrick, which is the famous restaurant, of course, on Waiheke. Yes.
One of the things as I said, we're very spoilt with this festival to be able to use a vineyard restaurant, and we always have a wonderful lunch. And this year it'll be at Mudbrick, specifically because they recently just came out. Robin wrote the book about their life, and it's 20 years since they started Mudbrick. And put the first vines in. Yes, they were one of the early players on the island, and it's sort of grown organically in all shapes, because not only that, of course, they were one of the first with a garden, and they have a wonderful garden. I don't know whether I can find photographs, but their potted garden as you walk up is
Yes,
beautiful.
just full of herbs and lovely things. Are there recipes in here as well, or is it
There
mainly
are
about their
recipes.
life there? Yes.
It is about their life, and it's a very honest account actually, because it's quite uphill and down dale when you start a vineyard, I
Oh,
think,
yes,
and
really
then a
tough
restaurant.
going.
And the two of them were very, very involved. Robin and her and Nick Jones were very involved all the way through, hands-on, putting Mudbrick together.
Yeah.
And so on Sunday, the 28th of October, we'll have a lunch at Mudbrick, but we will also we'll have the gardener there, and also some of the local artisan suppliers who supply the restaurant
Super.
are going to come.
And I see Jacqueline Fahey will be on the island as well, talking about
yes.
her recent autobiography. So a wonderful character, raconteur, and an extraordinary older woman, isn't she?
She is.
So,
Jacqueline Fahey is amazing. Her book, her recent memoir called Before I Forget, which of course, if we were ever going to rewrite a memoir, that title would be appropriate.
Yes.
But it's it's been out about a month or 6 weeks, I think. And I'm really looking forward to having Jacqueline. I think she's been a striking woman in the art field, and to find that she's actually such an excellent writer as well is quite
delicious. Yes.
Quite delicious.
So about how many people do you think you'll have coming over?
The numbers vary over the few days, the 2 or 3 days, because each of the venues, it's not like the big Auckland auditorium when you've got 350 or maybe thousands coming all at once. Most of our venues take under 200.
Okay, there'll be small, passionate groups. It sounds
That's
wonderful.
right,
We'll
small, passionate groups.
Get people onto the website to book. Thank you so much for coming, Geraldine.
Well, thank you, Lindsay.
I love little bits of funny wordplay, and this short video from explore.com is a whimsical treat about the crazy ways the English language treats plurals. It gets more clever when you reach the end and realise you're actually watching an ad, but it's not one we've ever seen on our screens.
A plural, you ask, well, what does it do? When you started with one, then added a few. The answer's not simple, so let's go explore. What do you call one when it turns into more? There's octopus to octopi, spiky cactus to cacti. Then how come when we multiply, platypus doesn't become platypi? A single tooth to a mouthful of teeth, 5 toes on your foot and 10 on your feet. But why a goose joins some geese? We'll still never say one moose, 2 geese. Plurals are tricky, it's a bit of a chore. What do you call one when it turns into more? Glasses and scissors stay the same. Houses and humans add an S to their name. Dominoes topple with the S at the end. Fish are just fish, whether one or with friends. A single Prius, it's easy to know. But if there's a few, how would it go? Would you add ES or replace with an I? Simply keep it the same or cast your net wide. A Latin professor'd say Priam's the best. What if Priam's the one that puts things to rest? After all this confusion, my head feels sore. From what do you call one when it turns into more? What do you call one when it turns into more?
Hello, Carole Beu from the Women's Bookshop. A big welcome to you. You're absolutely almost straight off a plane from the Frankfurt Book Festival.
Yes.
So I'm amazed you're sort of awake.
Oh, I'm awake. I slept on the plane.
Great. And we're going to talk a lot more about the festival again next week. But meantime, I gather you also managed to fit in some reading on the plane, on the long flight
Well,
home.
I read this whole novel on the way home, beginning to end, and it's a perfect read for a plane because it's extremely funny and highly entertaining. The 100-year-old man who climbed out the window and disappeared. Now, it's a
Just
big...
about gets the title for the longest book title
It
of the year,
does
doesn't it?
indeed. The
prize, I think.
100-year-old
Yes.
man who climbed out the window and disappeared. Jonas Jonasson, who is Swedish. And this is a bestseller in Europe at the moment. It was in all the bookshops in Germany when I was there. Well, it's only in Frankfurt, but it's in all the bookshops in Frankfurt and is very, very popular at the moment, and I can understand why.
Yeah.
It is hilarious. Basically, this 100-year-old man is in a rest home, and it's his 100th birthday, and the mayor is coming. This is in Sweden, and the rest home owner, matron, is pretty ferocious. He doesn't like her at all, and she has rigid rules. And he decides he's not going to appear at his own birthday, and quite spontaneously he managed to stagger over the windowsill and climb out into the flower bed and take off. And he manages to walk to the bus station where he's waiting for a bus, and there's a rather fair, pimply young man who has a leather jacket on with various slogans on the back, who has this large suitcase that won't, and he needs to go to the toilet, and it won't fit into the toilet. The suitcase won't fit into the cubicle with the man, so the young man asks the old man to look after the suitcase, and quite spontaneously this old geezer steals the suitcase, jumps on a bus to go anywhere, and takes the suitcase with him. And of course the suitcase turns out to be full of millions and millions and millions and millions of whatever the Swedish money is, but millions of dollars worth of Swedish money. And he then goes on this series of extraordinary adventures that are absolutely hilarious. And you get this current story of all the people he meets up with, who he shares the money with all the way along. And this whole sort of gang of them get together with this 100-year-old guy. And Alan Carlson, his name is. And at the same time, then you get the backstory of his life, and it goes through the entire 20th century. So he was born in 1905, and it's now 25.
Yes.
So, what is 25,
yes.
is how you say it? Anyway, 2005. And so that in that 100 years, he has taken part in every major event of the 20th century, and he has dined with the various US presidents. He's met Stalin, and he's been crucial in all the political decisions that were made, and including, now he when he was a kid, he left school when he was 10, and he went to work in a munitions factory and learned all about explosives and dynamite, and he became an explosives expert, and he figured out how to make the atom bomb. And he actually at one point when he's in America, meets Robert Oppenheimer, and actually gives Oppenheimer the clue as to what the final thing is you need to do to make the bomb. So it was really Alan Carlson, this man who's now 100, who gave Oppenheimer the crucial bit of information. He much later, sort of accidentally, when he was in a Russian submarine, gave the same bit of information to a nuclear physicist from the USSR, so he enabled Russia to make the bomb. And he's also been involved in all the it's just hilarious.
And so he shares all of these stories with all the people he meets along the way.
Yes, you just get all these various stories of his extraordinary life. It is absolutely hilarious and very biting political satire. Shows up all the ridiculous decisions. I mean, at one point he meets Churchill, he meets all sorts of people, but he blows things up all over the place. He blows up bridges in various countries because he's an explosive expert.
And did I read somewhere about this book there's something to do with an elephant or something
yes,
as well?
there's an elephant. Yeah. There's an elephant. Well, they stay in the end, they're in hiding, in the current story with this group of people with the money, they go into hiding, and they end up at this place with this woman who happens to have an elephant in her garden. The elephant's escaped from the zoo, and she's kept hiding the elephant because she loves the elephant, and the elephant loves staying with her.
So
wherever they go from there on, in hiding, they have to take the elephant with them. So at one point they buy a bus that's big enough to fit, then they convert the bus so that it can carry the elephant. So, I mean, it's just totally ridiculous.
It's quite refreshing, isn't it, for a terrific book to come out of Sweden that isn't about ghastly murder and detectives and things.
No.
It sounds such a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Carole Beu.
It's fun.
Thanks for watching Let's Talk. Next week we'll look at a great new exhibition at Auckland Museum called Urban Life. In the meantime, we hope you all have a great Labour weekend. See you soon.